I was reading through your biography and it's just fascinating. A Shaolin monk, you hear about this in the movies of the past of, someone traveling to China to train into being a Shaolin monk, but you usually don't. This is my first encounter with a Shaolin monk, so I'm very honored by it. But perhaps you could tell us how you went from the Italian Alps, where you were born, which we discussed just a second ago. You're currently in Switzerland on the other side in the Alps. But how'd you go from that to really getting involved at a young age with becoming a Shaolin monk?
Actually, it's a story that intersects a little bit of destiny, karma, whatever you want to call it. But by some fortunate circumstance, when I was a young teenager, one of the first Shaolin Kung Fu schools in Europe opened in the village where I was born, which is a
Oh,
somewhat unusual circumstance because it was a small village. So we're not talking a major capital city, but a gentleman from this village learned something during his military service, then returned there. It was, the era of Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan, and he thought that this could be a viable business. And I became quickly passionate about this, but I never thought that it would bring me to China. It was a kind of after-school sport and hobby, and then I became let's say, a professional athlete in martial arts. Although in martial arts at that time, professional athlete just means that you trained all day, but there was no income from it.
yes.
And and then eventually the practice got me more and more interested in both the philosophical and let's call it the sports sciences aspect of it, and the medical and health and well-being and fitness aspect of it. And that's when the seed of studying this at university and then perhaps going actually back to the source, to the monastery in China, that's when the seed started to take place.
Mm. And since that seed was planted, what have you kind of, grasped from the Shaolin monk, I would say, principles and knowledge that now you're starting to apply or are applying within health and wellness? What are the main concepts, I would say? Because not many people are too familiar with what it takes to become a Shaolin monk.
I think that the most powerful takeaway, at least as I bring, this idea of mixing tradition and modernity, because I have inside me two souls in a way. I have a very scientific soul and this very traditional soul. Is I am very, in some way, relieved and pleased by the fact that modern science and modern medicine and fitness science and wellness science is rediscovering some principles that I read in 1,000-year-old texts. For example, the fact that mental and physical well-being are part of one ecosystem
Mhm.
and that they impact each other in a tremendously, undetachable way. So you can be, physically unwell and it will have a mental health impact and vice versa in many profound and nuanced ways. This was spoken about, 1,000 years ago. And the idea was train the body with the mind and train the mind with the body. This is one of the simple, key Shaolin principles. And here we are, 1,000 years later, rediscovering the exact same principle through scientific research and so on. And this for me is one of the most powerful things that I think this culture can bring in modern society, but also one of the most powerful rediscoveries of modern science, which is happening right now.
I agree with you 100% in that what the ancient civilizations before us understood their knowledge base was quite profound. They just had different words, different technologies, different ways of measuring things, correct? And science today has become very technical. We have great advancements in technology, but the words of quantum physics and the words of that we understood in the past may be different. Concepts are the same. And that's what's so interesting that your tagline, ancient wisdom for modern times, is the melding. It's the intersection of these and to take everything and not to dismiss what we've learned